Hello, good evening, and welcome to episode 202 of Cantinho Benfiquista podcast. Only focus, league, and the cup. That's all we've got left to fight for at the moment. As always, I'm your host, Mike. I am joined by Bill. Oscar's supposed to join us, but again, Oscar fashionably late as usual. If he ends up joining, we're trying a new day and time. For us, the weekdays or weeknights can be hectic at times with kids, family, work, sports, dinner, all that fun stuff. And maybe Sundays could be a little bit more consistent for us. Hopefully it works for everyone else. But either way, you can always listen back after the fact, or you can tune in after the fact, the beauty of the internet. So, but hopefully we'll get quite a few people in here during the live and right on time. We got Oscar fashionably late. Welcome, Oscar.
Hey guys, sorry about that.
So as I was saying, we're gonna test out this Sunday thing. Hopefully it works out a little bit better for us in terms of the hecticness with work and kids and all that stuff. Today we have on the agenda, actually before we go into the agenda, I didn't say, or Bill didn't say hi to everyone. Bill, how are you?
Not too bad. Solid win today, so
Yeah.
in good spirits.
Oscar?
Oh yeah, suffered a little bit. Had probably like 3 little minor heart attacks, but
That's par for the course.
yeah, part of it.
Yeah.
Today we'll talk about Rio Ave 2, Benfica 3, a game where once again we can never make it easy for ourselves. We'll go into the starting 11, some changes, how do they work out, some penalty shouts. We'll go into that. We'll talk about the elimination from the Champions League against Barcelona. 2 legs. We come out defeated in both. Was it a good run? Did you expect more? I've seen some mixed opinions on social media, on TV, in the newspapers. So curious to get everyone's thoughts. Rumors circulating about Otamendi's renewal. His contract's up this summer. There's rumors that he does want to stay. We'll get into that. Do you agree? Do you think it's a good move? He is 37. Does that play a factor? And then we'll look ahead to what's left of the season. We've got 9 matches left, but Sporting has 8 as it relates to the league. I would say Benfica's got a tougher schedule, but we'll get into that and get everyone's thoughts. So we'll jump into today's game. Rio Ave 2, Benfica 3. Starting 11. Trubin Tomás Araújo comes in on the right, Antonio Silva, Otamendi, Carreras, Tino, Kokshu, Auschwitz in the middle, Amdouni and Bruma on the wings with Pavlidis up top. Bill, I'll start with you. First, just kind of get your thoughts in regards to the 11, right? Sheldrup and Aktürkoğlu start on the bench. Bruma naturally comes in because he can't play in the Champions League, so he's fresh. We see Amdouni come in. He had a good performance against Nacional. If I'm not mistaken, off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure he came in against Barcelona as well. But he had a dip, and then he's starting to pick it up again. Any surprises for you in the starting 11? And then not to forget that our national team manager midweek, when he announced the starting or the squad that he was picking for the international break, some say it was a mental lapse. Some say it was a linguistic mistake. I'm not buying it. But he said, Tomás Araújo tem uma lesão crônica. But so he doesn't call him for the national team, but he is in the squad for the game today. And he starts, albeit he comes out at halftime. But any surprises in this 11 for you?
I mean, that one to me is the one that I wouldn't say a surprise. It was just given what we know with Tomás, right? Like he's had, I mean, I would call it some chronic.
I mean, he's
knock
come out
or some chronic
fairly often
pains
with
or something. Yeah. So there's something going on, right? Like calling it an injury maybe is not the right term, but there's something chronic going on there because it's not the first time he's talked about it. This is not the first time we've seen it. So to me, that one was the one that's a little, I wouldn't say surprising, just the one that you figured he didn't get called up. Then you're thinking, all right, maybe it is a little more serious at this point than it was that they were making it out to be. But then, I mean, he gets the spot in the lineup. I mean, the only other option there is Leandro, what's his name? Santo, right? I mean, that's the only, unless you want to put Dahl. I know he's played there a bit, but Leandro's going the out and out right back option. So to me, that one was the only one that kind of stood out. We've seen him in the league lately rotate, right, with bringing Brume in, giving Sheldrup and Batukoglu some rest. Even Balletti has played up top, but I think given we're out of Champions League at this point, it wasn't like a 2-day turnaround between that game, the Champions League game, and this game. I mean, you could put out a fairly strong squad without having to worry about rotating it now at this point. From now on, I mean, you play every once a week, and then you have Passa's game sprinkled in. At this point, you don't have to worry about. You can still rotate the squad if people drop in form, but you put up the strongest lineup you have week in, week out now.
Oscar, you surprised by what you saw in the 11?
No, I mean, I actually am like I told you guys in the text. I was happy to see Amdouni in the starting 11. I think he's the player that's deserved to start, and he proved it today. He had a few plays there that were like impressive. If Araujo is healthy, starts no matter that's no question. And if he's healthy, I almost think he starts for Antonio Silva right now instead of Leandro. So Leandro to me is more like he hasn't failed us. He's every time he's got called, he's proved himself. So I think he would have, if Araujo was hurt, I wouldn't have risked Araujo. That's my thought. Yeah. Everything else, I think Rio Ave away, playing with Tino is in my opinion, a good call. I think once we started dominating the game the way we dominated in the first 15 minutes, 60 minutes, I think it'll be especially with Tino having a yellow card. He should have taken him out. But starting 11, I think I would have kept him. I would have started him.
Okay. And what did you think of the game overall, Oscar?
I think we made things easy. We could have put the game away, like I told you guys in the text, within the first 30 minutes. I think the game could have been over. But for some reason, I'm like, maybe the next 10 chances we'll score a few. Maybe the next that doesn't go in. And I'm like, we had to get a penalty in order to get a 2-0. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell are we doing? Like, how are we missing so many opportunities? Like the balls, we legit, every single shot that it goes 3 inches to each side of the goalie would have gone in, but it goes right at the goalie. I'm like, I just don't get it. We could, like Carreras even said it at the end of the game, like, if we were to score the chances we had, we win games like 20-0.
Yeah. First half, we had 2.43 expected goals, 65% possession, 11 shots, 4 on target, and only 1 goal. I mean,
it's insane.
It's pretty alarming that the fact that we were
in a worldie of a goal.
Yeah, and the goal was
we're not just gonna swing by, pass by the goal. It was just because of goal, but it was a fucking.
It seems like we scored the hard ones and we missed the easy ones. Like it's just that way.
Yeah, I don't get how that works. Bill, you agree with Oscar in terms of his view of this game?
Yeah, I think from the start we controlled the game, right? We dictated the pace, we dictated the tempo. We should have had easily more than 1 goal at half. And I think it should have been one of these games where we're going into the second half and you're just seeing out the result, right? You have the game in hand. You not going through the motions, but you can control it at your pace. You don't have to make it as stressful as we had to. We ended up making it. But it should have been a lot easier than the scoreline suggests.
Yeah. I mean, we should have gone into the half at least winning by 2, if not 3, given the chances that we had. We go into the half leading 1-0. While we're talking on the first half, the penalty shout on Amdouni, what do you guys think about that?
If you freeze the picture, like I've seen the picture frozen, it feels like he steps on his foot. But if you see the play like the real play,
seen it live,
everybody just collided right there and the goalie grabbed the ball. So I think I would get pissed if that call got called against us. So therefore, I wouldn't have called it, and I'm not mad they didn't call it.
I thought the same thing when I watched the highlight. Like, it looked like 3 players just came in and bumped into each other and fell over. When I saw the slow-mo, not even just the still frame, I actually watched the slow-mo of the play after the fact, and the defender steps in front of Amdouni, doesn't touch the ball, and steps on his foot.
That's a PK, but the way that the play played out,
possible.
I just think those things are like too much of a pussy call if we
I
call it.
agree, but
I mean,
unfortunately, like we see all this shit week in
I
and
was
week
just about to
out,
say.
and it's like
I know.
there's no consistency.
Yeah, I know.
That's
There's
the
no
problem.
I mean, I saw
Yeah.
Sporting yesterday that their PK is
Correct.
the
Yeah,
hell.
but that's the thing, right? Is if there's like that in the Premier League probably is not a penalty, right? But it's just
Yeah.
like in our league, we see shit that you like. How the hell is that a penalty? And then like you see stuff like this, and it's like, what the hell? How did that not get called? Second half, we start well. We score that penalty against Pavlidis. Any opinions on the penalty? No penalty. Penalty.
Absolute
I've seen some mixed opinions on social media saying it's not a penalty.
I have two.
Corner or the crossbar or the post. We take a 2-goal lead, and it seems like the team kind of just takes their foot off the gas. I get it. You're going into an international break. I get it. Some tired legs. Oscar, do you see an explanation for that? Like, do you think it's just a team at times becoming complacent where we have a 2-goal lead? And then granted, their goal comes from, first of all, it's a corner kick that should have been our corner kick, and they ended up giving a goal kick. And then their first goal is a deflection off of Pavlidis that then ends up bouncing in front of the keeper. But then even after that, like the team just felt like it was in like a rut, right? It reminded me a lot of the AVS game, right? Like all of a sudden we're like drowning, and it's like, holy shit, what the hell are we gonna do? And I don't know about you guys, but I just felt like, here we go, this is it, right? Like we're gonna blow it. And sure enough, they score that second goal. But like, how do you? I don't know. How do you explain this? Like, do you see it another way? Like, do you think it's just complacency? Do you think there's this team just lacks that killer instinct? What is it?
I mean, the thing is, like, they should have confidence. I don't know if it came from the Barcelona loss. But they've been winning games in the league, and they've been outperforming teams. So like the confidence is there. Pavlidis has been scoring. The team as a whole has been playing well. So I'm not sure why they just break down like that. I know they just played in the middle of the week against Barcelona. It's not an easy game to play because they had to do a lot of chasing. Barcelona had a lot of the ball, right? So there's a lot of tired legs. I know Florentino was out a month before Barcelona's game, and then he just played almost. I think did he play the whole 90 minutes against Barcelona, and then now again he was most likely in the field again. So
I think he played 90 against Barca. Yeah.
Tino? Yeah. So
Tino
came out. I think it was
against Barcelona in the 70th minute.
He came out. All right. So he played most of the game against Barcelona. Now he was here, and he committed the foul for the first free kick. Right. He was the one who committed the foul, and then he gave the ball away easily. And I think it's a good idea to start him because Rio Ave away is not an easy game. I think we have to control the game before he comes out. But I think he came out too late. I think at halftime with a yellow card, take him out. I think because we're controlling the game, we're going forward, and they had no possession basically.
I think the problem is when Laj made the subs, the way he made the subs, you're then relying on Tino to be the one to build, right? Essentially do what Coxu was doing. So in that second goal, he's dropping deep to turn to then build from the back. And I mean, we've all talked about it. That's not his strong suit. Like we can't expect him to be able to build out of the back. Like that's not what he does. And in that instance, I mean, that one is like, for me, it's like easy. You get the ball, you realize you have pressure, play it back to the fucking keeper, clear it, move on. Like, I don't know what he's doing, trying to turn there and then trying to cut it. Like, that's like not in your locker. Don't do it. It's on your bag of tricks. Get the ball. You can't turn. Play it fucking back, clear it, and you.
There, like I think his tired legs showed because when the ball touched his foot, it went like
correct.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's right. So and that's part of the problem.
Like, I think it was more like tired legs, and then he looks like he just lost it, like legit completely, just like it's just not as strong. And I think thinking about it right now, to be honest, I think the biggest thing what made Benfica lose the second half, kind of lose their way of playing, is they lost Arsene in the midfield.
Correct. So that was going to be another question that I was going to have. Was right. We've seen Leandro Santos come in against Santa Clara. He played a couple of other games. I can't remember if he played against Nacional off the top of my head.
It was Nacional and I think it was 2 back-to-back.
Right against it. Yeah. Right. So we've seen him play. Right. We've seen him give Tomás Araújo some rest, And at halftime, right, naturally something's wrong with Tomás Araújo, fatigue, whatever you want to call it. And in that instance, he opts to break up our midfield and moves Auschwitz over to the right from the start. He played against Nacional, if I'm not mistaken. We're up a goal. We're dominating the game, right? Rio Ave hadn't created anything. And then that could have been too. That raised a question
That's
for
strange
me.
to me. Yeah.
Oscar, did you see anything into that?
No, I think you just have to. Bruno Lage just said it from before, and I thought he was going to do it. He has to play the players in their position, and Freddie is needed in his position, not as a right back. I know he can fill there when he need it.
Although he got the assist for the third goal.
Yeah, he plays good anywhere he plays, but it was not the problem being on the right back when Freddie went to right back. The goals didn't come from there; it came from Tino committing some stupid mistakes. All right. So, but Freddie almost frees Tino of doing that kind of job when he's there in the midfield helping him. Like, I think Freddie's just a player that needs to be playing this position in order for Benfica to kind of have a motive for Benfica. And I think maybe he thought about moving Freddie out back because he knew that he was going to bring in Renato Sanchez. Renato Sanchez is that kind of guy that can move around the midfield just like Freddie does.
Yeah. Substitutions wise, obviously he brings Barreiro in at halftime. He makes a single substitution in the 73rd minute with, I think they ended up coming in together, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe not. But Renato came in for Kokshu, Belotti, and Aktürkoğlu come in for Pavlidis and Amdouni. I don't know what you guys thought, but I thought all three of them came in well. I mean, I thought Barreiro played well, but I think this time around, I had seen some people criticize the substitutions. I thought all four of them had a really good impact in the game. You guys agree?
Just to think, Belotti is the one who, like, his reception on that goal the game.
Yep, and even the second chance that Aktürkoğlu has, Belotti starts it as well,
from Belotti.
and then Barreiro plays it across, and Aktürkoğlu almost puts it in the net. So
I have no problem. The subs, I think the subs were good. I think Koksu was tired. You could see he's been playing like really well the last few games. Like, you can't ask for more from Koksu now. I used to be a critic of his. He's changed my mind. He's a beast. I like him. So like, those subs were needed, and those guys are tired. And I think
made no sense to me when they announced it and the rumors, and I was like, this doesn't make any kind of sense. And I'm surprised this guy has come in. He's a different type of striker to Pavlidis, but to having him be able to come off the bench and even start some games, like, it gives you something different. And he's a veteran. Like, he's experienced. He's been around. So I mean, he's been a nice addition. And I think him coming in, all three subs definitely shifted the game back into our favor and under our control. Because from that point on, after those subs, is when Rio Ave's 10-15 minute spell of pressure kind of died down, and we kind of controlled the game again.
Yeah, and he gives you that press that, I mean, call it what you want, but Artur Cabral doesn't give us that option, right? Like, maybe he's got better footwork than Belotti does, but in terms of like commitment to the team, he just, not to say that he doesn't want to, he just doesn't have that capability. He doesn't have the ability to get after it. He doesn't have the ability to press the defenders, and Belotti gives you that. So it's just like, people like, well, Belotti just came and now he's starting over Cabral, and like, get it, he's on loan, but like, we have to win, right? We want to win the league, right? So, and if we want to win the league, we got to put our best options out there, right? And I think Belotti gives us that option right now. Wanted to talk about two players here. First, Renato. Renato comes back from injury. He got some minutes in the last couple of weeks. He came in again today. I thought he played well. He came in well in the first game against Barcelona in Lisbon. Naturally, this guy, if he can stay fit for these last 9 plus 2 Taça games, potentially 3 if we go to the final, I think if he's fit, and again, if he's 100% and he's fit and he's able to go, for me, he's like almost an absolute starter.
Right.
Correct.
Like those, I don't know, we got like 15, 20 minutes against Barca in that first game. Like, that was like rolling back the tape to like to Renato when he like first left Benfica. Like,
Yeah.
But the problem is, like, we see that, and we're
Correct.
like, we all are just waiting for the news tomorrow morning or something that Renato's out for another
Pulled
4
a
weeks
muscle.
with a muscle injury. Like, that's the problem. Like with him, until he can, I don't know if he ever can get past these injuries, because these are all like muscle. All his
Yeah,
issues are all
not
muscle,
impact
which is
injuries.
that's the problem. But if he's fit and healthy, and I mean, I wouldn't disagree that he could probably have an argument to be a out and out starter every game. But to have someone like that come in, even if it's only 30 minutes a game, like it's a huge asset.
But
That's
who do you guys take out?
That's the thing. And the other thing we have to remember is I've seen some criticisms of Kokshu, and he's deserved some of the criticism, right? He doesn't have intensity, right? He's a different type of player. He's a guy that, is better with the ball at his feet. He's not a guy that, you want to have him running 20, 30 yards chasing players. I would say, in certain games, Kokshu could take a break, right? Because Renato gives you the ability to carry the ball forward, right? Whereas Kokshu will give you that too, where Tino doesn't give you that, right? So, like, you need someone that can transport the ball. Yes, he's a different type of player from Kokshu, but Kokshu's only missed 3 games this season. He missed Pavide, he missed Ferenc for the Taça, and he missed another game for accumulation of yellow cards. So, like, this guy's got tired legs, right? We talk about giving Auschwitz a break. He needs a break, right? And, like, I think Renato would be a good option for him in certain games. I don't know if you guys see it that way, because I don't see Renato replacing a Tino, right? Because Renato's not that type of guy.
Well, I think it depends on like the game, right?
Correct.
Because we've seen certain games where he rolls out Freddie and Koksu with Amdouni playing more advanced, right? Like
Like
in
home
certain
games.
games, you could easily roll out Renato, Freddie, and Koksu. Like, yes, that's a very
But you're not giving Kokshu a break in
offensive.
that.
Right. No, I'm just saying, but you were saying, like, who else could you? And I'm just saying you could, like, in certain games, you could give team, like, he can do the role of, or Freddie could do the role of Tino type of thing. And like, there's ways to rotate that midfield.
I think if we are going to give Tino a break, it's always going to be for Barreiro.
Correct, because he's the most similar to him, despite him still being different.
Right. So it's always going to be for Barreiro. And then, yeah, I think I agree. Koksu does need a break once in a while. And Renato can't play all the time because what's going to happen. So I think for a break, for Koksu to rest, Renato is a perfect choice. As long as he's healthy, I think he could fight with it for a position. And then once he plays good, and then, hey, listen, they're even for themselves. Now they play the spot.
Yeah, I like the way he came in against Barcelona. I don't know, he just looks hungry again, and naturally that's important because he's been out for a long time. But I'm really hopeful that if he can stay healthy, he'll be a huge piece to this puzzle for the remaining 9+ games, because our midfield's thin, and we could really use his quality and his strength and his just experience to be able to push this team forward. The other player that I wanted to talk about was Kerem, right? So he came in guns blazing, hit a lull. I've seen comments on social media of, in a joking fashion, but it's pretty interesting. The irony of the similarities is we sold Rafa to Turkey and we went and bought the Turkish Rafa, in the sense of, right, Rafa had his ups and downs, right? Like, he was amazing and then he would lull and then he was amazing. Kerem gets a goal today. He came in well. He could have had 2. Are we as optimistic as I am? Are you guys as optimistic as I am of maybe this can kind of kickstart him again for the remaining of the season? Because again, even if we can get half of what he came in with, right, that in itself is going to be a huge lift to this team offensively, right? Because we've struggled to find the back of the net. We've created a lot of chances, but putting the ball in the back, and that's the biggest issue. But are you guys as optimistic as I am after today?
I mean, it's like 20 minutes.
I get it.
So like,
I get it. But those 20 minutes have been better than we've seen from him in a while, offensively.
Yes. I want to hope, but like,
yes,
you said he went into a lull. Like, he fell off a fucking cliff. Like it wasn't like he went from guns
He
blazing
didn't have the
to
parachute
no
that
guns.
Oscar's always talking about.
Yeah, like
The thing is with Karim, like this is what, even from the beginning when he was scoring a lot of goals, you were still losing a lot of balls. You were still
Correct.
passing a lot of wrong
he
passes.
loses a lot. Yeah,
Scoring goals. So he was kind of like the goals were basically covering up for all his bad plays that he was doing. Now that he stopped scoring goals, or until today,
Yeah.
those
more
are more
obvious.
obvious. We can you basically like concentrate on they lose the ball so many times because he's not scoring goals. That's not getting basically it's not like so you see the true player. So he hasn't proven himself other than scoring goals at the beginning that he can be a baller in the game, and we can give him the ball and have confidence like we give to Di Maria. We give to Di Maria, we know he's going to do something with the ball. Karim is not that type of player. So if he doesn't score, then he's useless. So if he keeps scoring, then I'll give him a pass. If until that happens, and if he stops scoring, then we know exactly what player he is.
Fair. MVP for this game, Bill.
for me, Koksu. I think he dictated. I mean, he dictated the game, scored the worldie of a fucking goal. So to me, for Koksu.
Oscar.
Tino Florentino is the MVP today.
Shut up, dude.
I only said that because Remarks is on watch. He was sending me such messages on the side saying Tino sucks. You should get it. No, but I agree. I mean, there's a few guys that had really good games. I think Carreras had a good game.
Yeah.
I think Koksu obviously he scored a wonder goal and he was really good in the midfield. Arsenal was phenomenal. So I think there's a few players, but I agree with Bill. I think that goal is world class and enough to be voted MVP.
Yeah, Goal Point had him at 7.6 as man of the match. Sport TV voted Carreras as the man of the match, which I was surprised. Rui sending you love notes.
Of course he is.
Yeah, I would, between Kokshu, I thought he did well. I thought Amdouni played well.
He did.
I thought Auschwitz played well. So, like, our defense, I feel like our defense wasn't really tested, right? Like, they had 2 goals, but, like, Trubin didn't make a save, right? Like, I feel like our defense was never really put under pressure. So I think any one of the front guys. I thought Bruma had good moments in the game as well.
Another thing, you know what Karim's problem is going to be Bruma. That's going to be
now that we've got no midweek games, right? Bruma can play more frequently now.
Now let's see when Di Maria comes back. What Bruma
it's not just
that too.
Yeah,
because
it's just not Karim's. It's not just Karim's problem. You have Sheldrup as well.
Problem. Yes.
Yeah.
Bruma already has. I saw a stat. I sent it to Mike, and I was like, "This is crazy." Bruma already has more minutes in the league than Sheldrup, and he's
Which
only
doesn't
been
surprise me.
here
Does it?
for
Like, I see people in a frenzy on social media. I don't know if you guys saw, but Sheldrup again. He did the same thing against Santa Clara. He did the same thing again today. He didn't play today, and he posted some story, like cryptic story, on his Instagram timeline. He did it against Santa Clara. He did it again today, and he took it down. I went to go look before we came on the air, and he took it down. And people are saying, right, like I came across a screenshot of a message between his dad and someone else before the Santa Clara game where he wasn't on the bench. And basically he was calling names to the coach because he wasn't playing, blah, blah, blah. And I just get the sense that, like, yeah, Sheldrup has talent. I feel like he went on a good 4 or 5 game run, Taça da Liga, Ferenc, and like I feel like since he hasn't really been great, right? So I feel like he's in his head. I feel like he feels as if he's way up here already, and maybe he's not. And I don't know if you guys get the sense, but I feel like he's one of those young players that's potentially going to end up ruining his career because his ego, and maybe the people around him are also inflating his ego that are going to create problems for him. I don't know if you guys feel the same way.
I mean, it's not the first time because it's happened in the past.
Correct.
Like when he left and he was playing, it was loaned out. He was already talking shit. So he's that type of player that's going to do that. So it doesn't surprise me, but it's not going to get him many minutes by doing that.
Correct. Yeah, Bill, do you?
I think I mean, I don't disagree. Like we've seen mean, there's plenty of cases where talented players never fulfill the potential, right? And they're
Right.
all comes down to everyone, not just comes down to everyone around them, but like they get in their heads and they think they're better than they are, blah, blah, blah. I can see it from his side, like the frustrating part with like, yep, drop in performance a little bit, but he's not the only one that dropped. And plenty of guys have kept playing through their drop in performance and kept getting minutes. And this guy didn't. Like he dropped and then it kind of was like
Correct.
staggered minutes and
But I
here
don't know
and
if you
there.
guys noticed when I was watching the game live against Barcelona, and even against Monaco was the same thing. And him and Aktürkoğlu had the same issue, which is offensively he's all in, right? Against Barcelona at home, offensively he wants to go at players, and that's great. But like defensively, it's like he doesn't give a fuck. But it's like second half, he's just kind of moping around, right? And that's the difference between him and Kerem, in my opinion, is Kerem could have a shitty game. He could give balls away frequently, but he works his ass off to get back, right? He might not make the tackles that maybe he should. He might not recover the balls that maybe he should, but like he's making an effort. And if you watch Sheldon closely, in transition, offense to defense, he is super lazy a lot of the time. And that probably doesn't help him either, right? Because you got the rest of the team that's, trying to drink from a fire hose. Meanwhile, you got this 20-year-old or 19, I don't even know how old he is, right? That thinks he's already on a pedestal. Like, fuck you guys. You guys go get me the ball, and then I'll go do what I got to do, right? But the difference is that even when they do get him the ball, right, he's not having that impact like he did in those first 3, 4, 5 games, right? So that's the thing that kind of pisses me off and makes me a little bit concerned of, is he going to be one of those guys? Is he going to be a Diogo Moreira, right? That thought he was, the greatest thing in the planet. And where is he playing now? Strasbourg or whatever the hell he is. I don't even know where the hell he went. That's the thing that concerns me, because I think he's got talent, but I think maybe the people around him are impacting him in a negative way. Oscar, I don't know if you see it differently.
I like Andres. He's a talent, and he could be, if he's worked well and he puts his feet on the ground, I think he could be something to
Correct
help us tremendously. He could, but I think like you said, I think he's in his head, and until he gets out of his head and he puts his feet on the ground, I don't think he'll change. But it comes to the coaching staff has to step in and kind of help him out, because if they don't and they just let him think for himself and like, hey, he'll get out of it by himself, he will never do it.
Unfortunately, but the unfortunate thing, and as we've seen with many others, is the agents start to get involved, right? Oh, you shouldn't be here, right? I mean, the same thing happened with Diogo Moreira, Chernadur, right? And you can go down the list of many others, not just at Benfica, at other clubs. So I'll be very curious to see what happens this summer. I would not be surprised if we got a decent offer for him if Benfica let him go. I would not be surprised, which would suck because I think he's got talent. But as we've seen, talent isn't the only thing that helps you win games, right? You've got to have something between your shoulders that functions.
For that position on that side now, we have like, once Goveda comes back, we have like,
I forgot about him.
We have 4 guys that play in that position. So
yeah, I mean, wingers wise, we've got Gouveia, Sheldru, Prestiani,
Bruma,
Di Maria, Bruma, Aktürkoğlu.
Amdouni can play there.
Amdouni can play there. 7 guys.
Yeah, it's a lot of players.
Auschwitz can play wide as well.
Yeah. So
so we've got a lot of players that can play there.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what his thoughts are. Like, shit, if I don't know what his thoughts are. I mean, if I had 7 guys that compete with for 1 spot or 2 spots, I'd be a little shit in my pants.
But where the hell, where is he going to go that he's going to be a regular that's going to be like a same level as like a Benfica, do you think?
Where was he loaned out to?
Midtjylland.
Back to Norway or wherever.
Yeah, Midtjylland or Nordsjælland. I can't remember which one it was. But basically the team back in his country, right? And he was killing it there, right? But I mean, you can't compare the level of, right? And he's not going to get the opportunity. He's not going to get Champions League ball. He's not going to get that visibility playing in those leagues, right? So like, does he have the talent? Yeah. Is he going to have to wait for his opportunity? 100%. Does he have the ability or the talent already to take a step somewhere else at the same level as Benfica, where he's going to be able to play more frequently and be a regular and play at this level? I don't know if he can. right? Are there big clubs that would be interested in? Of course, right? I mean, Chelsea buys everyone, right? The big clubs, the Barcelonas of the world, right? They've got a young team, right? But like, he's not going to start at those
He's not going
teams.
to get minutes. No,
I mean,
even minutes we struggle.
I mean, his paycheck might look better, but his playing time's not.
didn't somebody say something about Barcelona being interested in him after the first home game?
I think I had seen something like that too. But again, he's not going to play. Who's somebody's going to take? Rafinha, Yamal? I mean, he's not.
Rafinha again? I don't know that.
Huh?
Guy.
Yeah. He's not taking any of their spots.
Who's this Yamal guy you're talking about?
Yeah, he's not taking any of those spots. So be curious to see what happens with him this summer. Moving on. Benfica gets eliminated from the Champions League. We lose 1-0 at home against Barcelona, a game that is extremely frustrating. Up a man. And then we go to not the Camp Nou, to Montjuic, and we lose 3-1 with a 4-1 on aggregate. I don't want to go into the game or the tactics. I wanted to really just kind of get a high-level opinion from you guys in terms of what our campaign was from a Champions League perspective. New structure or new format of the league or the competition. We get to the round of 16. Was it the round of 16? Yes.
Yeah.
We end up with a Barcelona. We brought in just over 70 million in terms of revenue, which is a huge chunk of change. And we get knocked out against a Barcelona team that, I mean, let's be honest, they're much better than us. I don't know if you guys watched the game again today against Atletico Madrid. They're down 2-0 within about 7 minutes. They make it 2-2. They end up walking away with a 4-2 win.
They scored 2 goals in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, this team just scores goals for fun, right? Could Benfica have done better in the first game at home, up a man for 70 minutes? 100%. I think we should.
And they had chances to do though. So
correct. And I think we should have won that game. With that said, the second game away, first of all, playing a Barcelona is difficult as itself. Second game being away, even more difficult. Had we won at home, I still don't have any doubt that that away game would have been hell nonetheless, right? This team they've got incredible amount of quality. They score goals for fun. And let's be honest, I know people want to be romantic of, oh, we're Benfica, and it's like, guys, forget that, right? This isn't the 60s. This isn't the 70s. Benfica, from a history perspective, is always going to be at the top, right? In terms of they're going to be right up there with the Barcelonas, the Real Madrids, the Manchester Uniteds of the world, right? We were there. 2025 is a completely different story. Like, the romanticism and the history doesn't run around on the soccer field and kick the ball into the rectangle with the net in it. Like, that's just not how it works. So in my opinion, I thought we had a good run. I think there was games that we should have won that we didn't. Just like I think there was a game or two that we won that I think we shouldn't have won, right? Atletico Madrid at home was one of those games. Monaco away, we had no business winning that game, and we won it. Feyenoord at home, we should have won. Bologna at home, we should have won, right? So when you level it all out, I think in the league stage of it, we won games that we probably shouldn't have won, and we lost games that we absolutely shouldn't have lost. And then you come up against a Barcelona, right? Like, it's just the difference in quality. So I think I think we had a good run. We made a lot of money, and had we gotten past Barcelona, I think we had a good chance to make it to the next round because we play either Dortmund or Lille, and I think, well, Dortmund ended up knocking out Lille, but I think it would have been a good chance. I see people saying, "Oh, Benfica did the bare minimum," blah blah blah. I don't understand how people can look at it that way, but I've shared my opinion. Oscar, what do you think?
I agree. I think I said I thought we exceeded expectations, in my opinion. I think we lost to probably the favorite team to win it after Liverpool. Liverpool got eliminated, and I think they got second place in the group, right?
First, or Barcelona got first.
Liverpool was first.
Liverpool got first. Barcelona got second.
Yeah.
So right now they're the favorite to win it, right? They have. And I don't know who I sent this to, and I was arguing with somebody about who we lost to Barcelona. They smashed Bayern. They smashed Real Madrid in a Copa del Rey or final, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So this team is not a joke. So for Benfica to lose 4-1 on aggregate to a team like this, it's not embarrassing. All right, we lost 3-1 at home to them. We should have won the game at home when we lost 1-0. I'm not embarrassed. I thought we played.
And we shouldn't have lost the 5-4 game.
No, the 5-4 game is embarrassing. That's why I call them Barcelona. Um, but like I thought we actually had a really good run this for the first time doing the competition the way it is, going to as far as we did when we had people from our hometown. Fernando Made, if he wants to repeat himself, thought we're going to be the choke of the tournament.
Yeah.
So we I think we exceeded expectations. We made ourselves proud. I mean, I was proud of Benfica this run.
Yeah, before I pass to you, Bill, Oscar said Fernando Meda. I mean, we could have been the team that got eliminated against the 13th in the Bundesliga. Right.
But those are that's a super
and got
13.
thumped at home. But
Yeah.
and then the defense mechanism for that was, well, I mean, they were the runners up of the Champions League last year. It's like, oh, all right, that's what we're going to use as an excuse. Okay, Bill, what do you think?
I think I agree. I think there were games we probably shouldn't have won that we won, games that we lost that probably shouldn't have lost. As a whole, just looking at where Benfica made, like round of 16, I to me, I think that should be the expectation every year, right? Like get out of the league phase, make it to the round of 16.
Preferably
After
not
that,
have to go
like
to the playoff.
No,
Right,
there's
right,
a game. There's a game before the round of 16.
The playoff.
now because of the playoff.
Yeah.
Because we
Yeah.
put our
'Cause there's
we
more
were in
teams.
that right. There's more teams. So, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like making it like if we had got knocked out in the playoffs, I would have been pissed. Like I would have said
Yeah.
it would have been like a overall
Because of
would
our
have been,
also
like,
because of our opponent, because we could have gotten some
right.
big dogs in the playoff
Exactly.
as well.
But like just looking at it, round of 16, once you get to that point, it's all draw, right?
You can-
Whoever
exactly.
and then ending up with a Barca, like if you pass them, it's a miracle type of thing, and you like okay, but you're not going into that draw thinking we have like a legit chance to get through. No,
Correct.
it's Barca. Like as much as we want to say Benfica can stand toe to toe with the best in the world, it's like Mike said, 2025. Like this isn't. This is a billionaire sport at this point, and these rich teams can just load their squads up.
But they're not rich. They're poorer than we are.
Dude,
that's yes, on paper. On paper, that's what you think.
They just
but they're not.
They're building like a $2 billion stadium. How does that work?
That's the difference. Is they may be in debt. Every team is in debt. The difference being as a Barcelona will always have financial backing by any financial industry, whether it's venture capital, whether it's private equity, whatever the case may be. Because
but weren't
the name
they couldn't pay players.
Well, that was the rumor, and then they couldn't register because they had issues with the league.
They couldn't register players because it's the league. It's not it's not funding. It's the league has rules.
What investor is going to be approached by Barcelona and be like, "Hey, we need some money," right? Yeah, they may up the interest rate, right, on the borrowing, but it's like, dude, you're Barcelona. You're not going to go away, right? So I would be stupid not to invest in you guys, right? So like, there's a handful of teams that are right, the Manchester Uniteds of the world, right? Those clubs are always going to have, if needed, financial backing. So yes, if you just look at the roster that Barcelona has today and associate all the issues that they had and look at their roster, right? It's like, what could they have done if they didn't have those issues, right? They got the Dani Olmos, they got Yamals, they got Rafinha's, Lewandowski, right? And they've got a super young team on top of it, right? So it's like, great, they had all these issues. They're building a new stadium, and their roster is still stacked. Imagine if they didn't. So, I think there's teams that we can compete with. On a one-off game, anything can happen, as we saw in that 5-4. When it comes to two games, typically the quality ends up coming out on top. And, for us, it would be an absolute miracle, or any Portuguese team, to be able to knock out a Real Madrid, a Barcelona of these worlds, because it's just quality-wise, it's just not there. Moving on, Otamendi Renewal. So there's rumors that Otamendi's going to or wants to renew. He doesn't want to talk about it until the end of the season. I didn't know that he's a Judge Mins guy. I was looking at it before the podcast, but he is a Judge Mins guy. He's a Gesti Foot player. He this season has played 40 matches in all competitions. All time for Benfica, he's played 218 games. Captain, leader. He's had his ups and downs. He's had some downs this season, but he's really picked up in the last couple of months and been a key contributor to this team. One thing to keep in mind is in his new contract, if he is to stay, Benfica doesn't have the advantage anymore of the 50. It's a more or less like a 50%, I guess, discount, if you want to call it, from like the IRS from a tax perspective. So we're going to have to pay 100% of that salary versus the kind of the discounting that we get now because he came back to Portugal. So there's some benefits that they were able to reap from that. And as you can imagine, he's going to have a hefty salary. Given his age, you can turn around and say, Pep played into his 41, if I'm not mistaken. He played in the last, was it the Euro or the World Cup? Was it the Euro? Yeah, the World Cup's coming up, the Euro, right? And like we had that overtime game against, who was it, France or wherever the hell it was, that he was toe-to-toe sprinting for 50 yards to the end line in overtime.
Right, so I think it was.
I think that's who it was. Right, so like we've seen cases where if taken care of properly, they can last that long. Are you guys in favor or not of him potentially renewing? I would say 1 year and then kind of work it 1 year at a time. Bill, what do you think?
Where do I sign? I mean, just looking at it like right now, if we don't have him, it's Tomas and Tony. And to me, Tony doesn't look up to snuff. Like this year has he's had a lot of errors. And I think normally if we had a right back that wasn't injured and we had Bot, I don't think Tony would be playing right now. I think it'd be Tomas and Alta in the middle. Given like you said, 1 year with like a club option or whatever for the second, like I would do that in a heartbeat. Like he Otamendi struggled to start, but he's shown his class. Like he's turned it around. He's been the leader that we all seen. His performances have been unbelievable lately. I signed that renewal, no problem.
Oscar, you agree?
See, I said on the chat that I would sign him. I didn't know about the 50% and us paying a full salary. That plays, comes into play big time because you don't know. I don't know how much his salary will be. I think you'd have to agree. I think you would have to agree to lower it.
He would have to because our salary, our Tet Salarial would be
so all depends. Low. If he says no, I don't want to lower it, I wouldn't sign it.
Correct. I think that's an easy one, right? Yeah. I don't think we should. I don't think we should go into strenuous situations salary wise, right? Is he important to us? Yes. From a leadership perspective, he offers us something that no one else does in that team. But like you said, from a financial perspective, Benfica is not in a situation like a lot of other clubs that they can make that extra effort, right, financially and make it work, right? Like you would put yourself in a really difficult situation financially, and at that point I don't think it's worth it, right? Like if he wants to stay and he's able to make it work, right, even if his salary's lower but bonuses are higher, signing bonus, whatever the case may be.
And I think it plays a lot in his mind, that World Cup as well, right?
Correct. And that was part of the rumor, was saying that he wanted to still play it at a competitive level so he could still be called up for the World Cup, opposed to going back to Argentina now.
Correct. So I think it would have been a good play on his side to be like, okay, I'll lower my salary, I'll stay an extra year.
Yep.
World Cup play after in the summer they play the World Cup,
and then I move on.
And I think he probably wants to retire after the World Cup anyways.
There's rumors that he wants to go back to Argentina, but obviously him going back to Argentina right now, going into the World Cup, probably wouldn't be best for him.
Correct. So I think it plays from. I think it helps both the club and him to lower the salary, and if he does lower the salary, 100% sign him, because right now, like Bill said, with Tony the way he's playing, and if we don't have Otamendi leading that team, we could be in shambles.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, you're looking at our center backs. We've got Tony, Otamendi. Tomás Araújo is in and out with an injury, and Bayrami is there, right? But he hasn't really played many minutes, right? So we're essentially playing with two center backs.
Yeah.
That's what we've got for the rest of the season. So God forbid anyone gets hurt, we're in trouble. Yeah. last topic here. We've got Benfica's down 3 points in the league with 1 game in hand. Our game in hand is against Gil Vicente. We've got 9 games left. Sporting has 8 as it relates to the league. And we've got some tricky games. And I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on how you're feeling confidence-wise in terms of what we've got to look at here. So Benfica's got Gil Vicente away, which will be the makeup game. Then we've got Farense at home, Porto away, Aroca at home, Vitória away, AVS at home, Estoril Praia away, Sporting at home, and Braga away. Meanwhile, Sporting's got Estrela away, Braga at home, Santa Clara away, Moreirense at home, Boa Vista away, Gil Vicente at home, Benfica away, and Vitória at home to finish off the season. Oscar, what do you think about this remaining schedule, and how are you feeling about
it? How do I feel about it? I wish I was in Sporting shoes right now. But because when you're playing Porto away and Braga away, like we're playing the top 3 teams of 4 teams,
and
right?
Vitória away.
Yeah, Vitória won't be an easy game either.
Correct. So that's the top 4 teams we're playing still, and only one of them we're playing at home.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, yeah, we have to rest players big time, because I mean, and we play Gil Vicente, we play Farense.
So we've got Gil Vicente on a Friday, then we've got Farense on a Wednesday.
I know, but Farense is after the break, right? After the international break.
They all are. So the break is
not. I'm talking about Farense, the first game, because usually we struggle in the first game after international break. So
the first game after the break is Gil Vicente.
At home.
Away.
Away.
That's the makeup game.
Oh, fuck me.
Yeah, so we play Gil Vicente on a Friday, then we play Farense on a Wednesday, and then we play Porto on a Saturday, I believe. Is it Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday.
It's the 6th of April.
Wait, but I saw on the schedule, Gil Vicente is on Friday, and then Farense is right on Sunday.
No, they moved it since we got knocked out of Champions League, so we play Farense on Wednesday now. So it's Sunday, Wednesday, and then that weekend we play Porto.
So we play midweek before playing Porto.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah. And then we've got, after Porto, we've got Tirsense away, which hopefully we can rest some players for the Taça. And then we've got Aroca at home.
2 legs, right?
2 legs, yep. And then the second leg's at home, which helps us. Then we go to Vitória. Then we've got the game at home against Tirsense for the second leg of the Taça Portugal. And then we've got the remainder of the four final games for the Campeonato. So,
damn, and we have Sport and Braga to finish Campeonato.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, their
last 2 aren't easy either.
Yeah.
Right. And if anything, right, like if there's anything on the line for that last game, right, like Vitória is going to be extra motivated because their coach just left the mid-season, right? So like, I wouldn't count that game, regardless of Vitória is not fighting for anything. I wouldn't count that game as given away because of the context behind it.
What context?
I mean, the fact that their coach left them mid-season.
Yeah, we're playing them away too. We're playing them away, so that
correct. But what I'm saying, I get that. What I'm saying is, typically the last game, right? Teams will pack it in, right? I got nothing to play for. I'm not moving up. I'm not moving down. What I'm saying is, in this case, if there's anything at play, right? If Vitória can have a say in any of the outcome that comes of the season, they at least have that motivation of, right, this guy pieced out on us halfway through the season. What could have been of this year, if he had stayed, right? I wouldn't write it off as a gimme, but I think we can all agree here that we've got the tougher schedule.
And the thing is, like with us, we're playing Sporting. We're probably going to be playing for the first spot, right, with us, and then we have Braga, who's probably going to be playing to compete with Porto to get third.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think by that time, Porto will probably already have dropped out. But I agree with you, right? They're still in that fight.
Yeah.
Looking at this chart, what do you think, though?
Because third place goes to Europa League. Fourth is conference league, right?
Conference. Yeah.
So yeah, Braga's going to be playing their balls off.
Yeah, because Braga's tied with Porto with 53. Yeah. But don't forget also, like, Porto, if Porto beats us, right, they're only 3 points away from us also. Right? So, like, they're still very much in it unless they drop points
Before.
between now and then, which is possible as well. I mean, the way they're playing. But, right, like, while they're 6 points out right now, and if we win our game in hand, they're 9.
9 points.
Right? But it's just like, if we were to lose to Porto, we've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games, right? Like, and then there's 6 if we win our game in hand, right? Like, so like Porto still also got something, right? Despite the 3rd place, right? Depending on how shit goes, right? Like, they could also, and again, let's be honest.
Regardless, Porto could be in dead last place.
Correct.
And the
And
Porto Benfica game is
they would
still
want
gonna
nothing more than to be able to negatively impact our
spoil
chances
it.
of winning a title,
Yeah.
just like we would as well. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
If you pull Porto's calendar up, they only have hard team to play as us.
So Porto's got, let me see. They've got Estoril away, Benfica at home, Casa Pia away, Famalicão at home, still away, Moreirense at home, Boavista away, and Nacional at home. Yeah, so they've got
by far the easiest schedule.
Casa Pia, us and Casa Pia, I think, are the only teams they play in the top 8.
Yeah, Porto's should have, besides us, should have all wins.
Yeah, but the difference being is that they're so bad right now, you don't know what the hell to expect.
You have no clue.
Yeah. Is their next game away or at home?
Their next game is Estoril away.
Oh, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Estoril, they tied today, right? At Oka. Estoril is the guy. I don't know if you guys saw the interview after Estoril played against Sporting. Their coach is the Scottish guy that he was Mourinho's assistant and Paulo Fonseca's assistant. And in his press conference, he said, "O Estoril é uma equipa que joga bom futebol e é preciso ter quilhões para jogar na nossa equipa. You know, big balls, big balls." And his press secretary was like, and he's like, "Oh, não pode dizer quilhões." He's like, "Bem, já está dito." So that won't be an easy game away. They've been on a decent run of form as well. But yeah, so I think on a scale from 1 to 10, I'll start with you, Oscar. Looking at our schedules down the road, how are you feeling?
I mean, Benfica, dude, if I was to give a percentage, in Sporting, even though whatever's happened in that little, there was probably like 2 months that they kind of were like falling off a cliff. They kind of picked up again with Jokeris coming back has helped them. If I was to give a percentage based on calendar, I give Sporting a 60% chance and us a 40.
Okay, I think that's reasonable. And we have one more game, right? And
correct. We still have to make that game up to their points.
Correct. I think that's a decent breakdown. Bill, do you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. I would, just because of our schedule. I mean, having to still play Porto, Sporting, Braga, and Vitória, like, regardless of home or away, like, you're still playing the top 4 teams. Like, you're still playing 4 of the top 5 teams. Like, that is a very, very hard schedule.
But besides that, I still think the Campeonato comes down to Sporting Benfica game.
That's what I've been saying for a little while. I think that's going to be hopefully the decider. If you guys had to look at this schedule specifically for Benfica, if there's one game that stood out here to you that you think is going to be almost kind of like the decider of, like, is this team going to be able to grab, let's use a Mario Kart reference. What's that game that we could hit that checkpoint and get that extra boost of energy to see us through the finish line? Or on the other side of it, that potential game that if we fall, we're going to fall hard.
Porto away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
that
agree.
one, like,
even though
I feel like it's so easy, regardless of how they look. Porto Benfica, especially away, is a huge test.
If we beat Porto away, I think the momentum falls all in our lap, and I think
I agree.
And because I think Braga steals points from Sporting next round, or in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever
Yep.
it is. If Benfica beats Porto away, it's all in our hands. We could have maybe a mess up here and there, like probably against Sporting at home or whatever, but I think we win it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Porto game is going to be huge because if we drop points there, like, and we've all seen it year over year, our results away to them aren't always great. Although Lage had a good result there in the past, so I think that's for me. I think as long as we beat Gil Vicente and Ferenc, I think that game is going to be telling of does this team have the mentality to dig deep and get it done when shit gets tough. And if we do come out of that game with a win, I think that Benfica Sporting game, I think, is going to be one for the ages. And hopefully
At
it ends
home,
up coming
too.
out. Yeah, at home too.
Fucking
Exactly.
massive.
Yeah. So, but then again, even if we go in to the last round with a lead, we then have to go away
Right.
to Braga,
Braga.
which isn't going to be easy either, right? So it's like nothing's going to be easy from here on out, right? It just fucking buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Benfica doesn't like to make things easy for us, as we've seen again today. So let's take a screenshot of our beards and hair at the moment because there's going to be more grays in
load
2
up
months.
load up on like Tums and heartburn medicine, and
yeah, we'll need all that stuff.
It's gonna get stressful.
Oh yeah, as always. Very well. That's all our topics we had here for today. Sunday.
You don't want to. Some people ask questions on the comments.
Yeah, let me go through before we jump off here. Let me see. Rui Marx, interesting question. You guys think Benfica will exercise the option on Amdouni?
What is the option? What's the buy clause?
18, I think it was.
I think 18.
We
I
paid
think
2.
the loan fee was 2, and then I think the option was 18. I've seen that the option was required. I've also seen the option is optional. I don't know, but what would you do, Oscar, for that price?
All right, he's a player that reminds me of Mason Greenwood. I don't know if you guys agree.
Oh yeah. Oh, do I agree?
He's he's fast at shooting the ball. He's got the scrap.
That's an interesting comparison though. Like not many people would go dig that one up.
Yeah, but like every time he plays, I'm like, that's like Mason when we use in Manchester United. That a quick shot. He was always if the ball came off this foot really fast, he didn't have to take any time to do that.
Yeah,
I think he's a guy that I it's interesting. I like him. I think if he found some regular time playing, he could be a superstar in our team. So 20 million.
From what you've seen from him, would you? Well, we've already paid 2. Would you take the other 18 and bring him on board?
We paid 18 for Pedrinho.
But we also sold him for.
So
I mean, we paid 25 for Cabral.
Yeah, and we paid 20 for Cebolinha. Like, yes,
yeah.
I'll pay it.
Bill, would you?
Yeah, I just had to go look up how old he was to see if he was. I mean, he's 24. He's not.
Oh, he's still
young. He's not that old. He's still young. I mean, yeah. I mean, 18 nowadays. Like, it sounds like that's like a reasonable price, 18, right? And with someone, especially in the early 20s, you still got plenty of opportunity. If you're looking at it from an investment, there's still plenty of opportunity to make money on a player like that. And I agree with Oscar. I think he's the minutes he has gotten, he's shown a lot, and I do like how he can play out wide. You can play him central. You could play him as a striker, and he's not afraid to shoot. Like that's the one thing that pisses me off with some of these players. Like they get a bit of space and they don't want to hit it. They play the pass. Like he gets a fucking inch of space. Right. He's hitting it, and I'll take that all fucking day.
Yeah, I think I think he has some interesting characteristics as well. I think he's able to play in a variety of different roles, which I think is helpful. Again, he's got that characteristic of I'm just going to let it rip, and more often than not, if
he's got a good shot, he's got a really good shot,
and he's able to pull the trigger with his left and his right, which is even better, right? He doesn't have to fucking bring it to one side or the other, right? Like it's just going to fly. So I think as long as we can move some other pieces, right? Because we've got a couple of extra pieces in that front third that I think we need to move if we're going to bring that on. I would be curious to know, and I don't know this part of the inside world, but although the option is 18, like, is there any? I wonder if Benfica is able to negotiate that after the fact, right? Because I mean, I would imagine Amdouni doesn't want to go back to Burnley. I don't know how they're doing in the championship. I don't know if they're potentially
take a
coming
quick
up.
look.
I don't think they are, if I'm not mistaken, because I think, yeah, I don't think they could be, but right, if they're not, right, I can't imagine that he's going to want to go back to Burnley, right? So that could potentially play in our favor. But yeah, I think it'd be an interesting signing as long as we can offset some of the other pieces to make it work.
Burnley is in third, 2 points out of second, and I think
Okay.
third is a playoff.
Yeah, the third's a. Wait, isn't like the 6? Isn't like the top 2 go?
Top 2
and then
go,
what,
and then
3, 4, 5,
4, 5, and 6 go into the playoff.
Yeah. Yeah. So it'd be interesting. I think that also will play a big part, right? Because if Burnley goes up, right, in all honesty, Amdouni probably wants to go back to Burnley, right? You get to play in the Premier League.
I mean, if they want him, type of thing.
True, but I mean, I would imagine that they would, right? He got a year at Benfica in the Champions League, right? He's got experience. He's international. I mean, I think they'd be crazy to not want him back. But I think that what comes out of that, I think, is going to be the key piece on whether he stays or whether he goes. Let's see who else we got here. Mark said we were below expectations at home in the Champions League, and at times above expectations playing away. Yeah, we won more games away than we did at home, which is shocking. I can't remember what the stat was, but I think Benfica's won like 2 games in their last like 10 home Champions League games or something like that. Something astonishing. Let's see what else we got here. Mark said, a nice twist would be having teams from the round of 16 or 24 drop down the league, Europa League, and then Mark, we already had that format. Where have you been the last 20 years? Which is interesting now, because if you look at the Europa League and the teams that are in like the final 8 and the Conference League, right? It's just like now you really see the differentiator of like the top tier of European football and then the next tier, right? Because like if you look at Conference League, you got Chelsea and then like a bunch of randos, and the Europa League, there's a couple of decent squads, right? But like you could see the difference in quality opposed to in years past where like the big dogs would drop in and make that competition a little bit trickier. Mark says Barcelona and Real Madrid are going to meet in the final. Do you guys agree with that?
I don't think it's there.
I think PSG is stepping up.
They're playing really well. I agree. So, what side of the bracket are they on? Are they on Real Madrid's?
No, they're on the other side. No, they're not.
No, they're on Madrid's.
They're on the.
I'm pretty sure they're on Madrid's side.
Because Real Madrid plays Arsenal right now, and I think I want to say PSG might be on our side, but I could be wrong. Let me see. I got it here.
Pretty sure they're on your side.
Yeah, so they're on their side. Yeah, so PSG, Aston Villa, Real Madrid, Arsenal, and then on the other side it's Barcelona, Dortmund, and Bayern, Inter.
Yep. Dude, Bayern might have a hard. Like I know Barcelona beat Bayern already, but I think Inter's a tricky team for Barcelona because they play good defense and with they counter.
Yeah, and they've got good experience too.
Yeah, so I don't know. It could be, but I think PSG might be my underdog right now that I think they're going to go through.
I like PSG. Yeah, PSG is playing really well, but I've said it so many fucking times. Champions League, you not fucking count out.
Dude.
Which they fucking find a way.
Guys, dude.
It's
so aggravating to watch because it's like, dude, these guys could fall in a pile of shit and come out smelling like roses. It's just like, how?
Hey, by the way, I don't know who Bill picked, but are we the only ones who picked Aston Villa to be the surprise team? They're still in it.
Yeah, Villa, I think, was my surprise
podcast.
You have to go back into that because I think we picked Aston Villa to be the surprise team, and they're right there.
I can't remember.
And I'm pretty sure I picked PSG to be the flop, and they're probably the hottest team right now. So that's fucking just
and Emery gets to go back to PSG to play this game, right? So after he laid an egg when he
That's
got
right. I forgot he
eliminated
was
by
there.
Barcelona, yeah, in that epic turnaround at Camp Nou. Yeah, so it'd be interesting. But yeah, I think on that left side of the bracket, I think I would give PSG the upper hand on getting through to the final. And then on the right hand side, given current form, I would say Barcelona. That's my pick as at the moment. Let's see what else we got here. That's it. Rui says 20 million for Amdouni.
Yeah, 2 plus 18.
Yeah. All right, we got international break now. Portugal plays with Denmark. Is it?
Yeah, 2
Yep.
games.
2 games.
These
And then we'll be
are
back.
these qualifiers or these like the national?
This is for the final four
league,
for the Nations League.
Nations League. Okay.
Who's the other two? Do you know the other two, Oscar?
No.
No. All right. That's fine. Doesn't matter. Pedro Matias says, great analysis from all you. Keep up the good work. Colega Benfica. Thank you, Pedro. As always, don't forget to check us out on social media. Again, this is a new night for us. We're trying to make it more regular just because it's less hectic and chaotic with kids and life and work and dinner and bath times and reading books to your kids before bed and then getting sleepy and almost falling asleep in bed with them. So Sundays might be a little less chaotic for us and hopefully it is for you guys. But again, after the fact, you guys can watch it back, leave us your comments, listen back at any point. Don't forget to check us out on social media. And as always, have a good evening.
Before you say goodnight, it's Italy, Germany on the other side. So if we beat Denmark, we play one of them.
At least we got the lesser the opponents in this round. The next round would be a little tricky.
Other side of the brackets: Netherlands, Spain, Croatia, France.
Oh, all right. So there's still a lot of teams left.
Yeah, we're playing for like this is the semifinals or whatever it is.
So this is the quarters
cool.
then.
Okay.
So
I thought this was I thought this was already the semi.
I thought it was the final four too.
No.
Yeah.
We still go to we played the semifinals against Germany or Italy.
Fuck.
And then the final against the other side.
Sick. All right. Gentlemen, as always, a pleasure. Have a good evening in Viva Sport Lisboa Benfica. Good night.
Good night.
Later, boys.